Good morning, friends. Once again, I welcome you for the fifth session on Linux programming. Let's see what we have today. So now let us get started with another command, which is called touch. The command touch is used to change file access and modification time in general. And parallel to that, we do have another command, which is called set time. Now, touch and set time both come with multiple parameters or the switches or the options, what you call. Touch has got some specific options like A, C, and M in general. A is used to change the access time, do nothing with the time of modifications unless M is mentioned over here. And then C, change the creation time in short. And then followed by, as mentioned, M will be going forward and helping us to change the last modification time. So let's go forward and see how does that works. So I have already logged into my server, and then let us go forward and see what are the existing files and folders we have. Now, as we can see that we do have a folder called a folder. So I'm just going inside that. So I'm saying cd folder. And inside that, once again, I would like to check what are the existing files and folders we do have. And the option for that stands at ls. Inside that, I can see there is a file1. But now I would like to go forward and check some details about that file1. So I'll go forward and say ls-l, which will be a long listing of the files and folders. And the moment I say that, for file1, I can see that the last modification time is 1424, which says 2 o'clock in the afternoon and 24. Now, as that clock runs over here, I can see that it's basically 44. So 41 now. So I see that whenever I'll go forward and apply the touch command, does it really change or not? So what should I do? I should be going forward and writing touch and the name of the file, which says file1.txt. Now exactly I'm hitting enter now, and it's 241. That means it's 41. So I hit enter, and again once again I go forward and say ls-l, and I can say that yes, the time has been changed over here, right? So it's the creation time of that particular file, right? So now, as we understand that touch is a command which will be going forward and will be able to help us to change a creation time or something. Okay, it is very much useful in case of in case when we wanted to apply some script, and based on the file access time, I wanted to go forward and get it done, right? So that is one command which is called touch, and it's helpful to get this time changed for the file, right? Moving forward, next. Now, as the next command, I have got a command called cp, which is used for copying any file from one location to another location. And cp command is basically used if the source file need to be copied in a destination location, and I want that particular specific file to be copied forcefully, so it will be overwriting the file. And if the file, if the destination is an existing directory, the file copied into the directory, but the directory will not be overwritten. So I'll get to understand that the time for the directory creation will not be changed, but however, all the folders and files which are inside that particular folder will be overwritten. So let us go forward and try setting some situations and see how does that cp command actually works. Now, let me come out of this location. So I'll say cd space ... And once again, if I go forward and list my files and folders, I'll see there is a folder called folder, and there is also a folder called folder1. And inside folder, I have got a file called file1. Now, if I would like to go forward and change, copy that particular file into folder1, I'll see how does that actually works. So what I'm gonna do is basically, I'll go inside my folder1, in folder, and I'll say ls, so that particular files and folders inside folder will be listed. Now what I actually gonna do over here is I'll go forward and write down a copy command. My intention is to copy the file1 from folder into folder1. So what I should write, So I'll go forward and say cp followed by file1.txt, and then I'd like to get it copied to another location where I'll be saying it's slash folder 1, and then inside that I'll say slash 1 second. The moment I hit enter, it said cannot create a regular file slash folder. So what we have to understand over here, this particular slash is not required. This particular slash denotes something else over here. It will be denoting a root folder or something. So what I'm gonna do is over here, if I go forward and just mention a slash, how does that, will that work? No, that will not work as well, because the moment I mention folder, my Linux kernel will try to figure out this particular folder inside this folder, right? So right now it's trying to figure out like this folder is folder 1 is a part of this folder. So now if I would like to copy the file from folder to folder 1, I cannot do it from inside from this folder. So what I have to do, I have to come out of that, and now I can see that from this particular folder, if I had to get it copied, so I'll be writing slash folder. So sorry, I'll be writing folder slash file1.txt, and then I'll write down folder 1 and a slash. Now the moment I go forward and hit a enter, it's asking, do you really want it to overwrite this particular file? Now the moment I say yes, the file will be overwritten, right? So that's the situation. How does it works actually? Now I can also see that there is a folder called folder 2. Now if I wanted to again copy the same file, file 1, from my folder to my folder 2, let's see what happens. So I'll go forward and say cp folder slash file1.txt, and then I'll go forward and say folder 2. And now I'll put the slash so that it indicates that I wanted to put the new file copied inside folder 2, and I go forward and hit enter. Now that says again there is a file available called file1, and I'll say yes, it's get copied, right? Now I also try to do whenever I'm copying a particular file from folder, I'll try to see that can I get it copied with a different name, right? So but for that, what I have to do, I have to understand what is the file and what is the content inside the file, so that later we can go back and cross check the file is a same file or not. So now I'll be writing scat folder slash file1, which will give me a read-only format of the file, and the content of the file says that it says hello world, this is our first Linux file. Now if this is the situation, what I have to go forward and do it, basically I have to go forward and try getting it copied inside folder 2 but with a different name. So I'll be writing cp folder slash file1.txt, then followed by folder 2 slash, I'll say new file dot txt, and then the moment I hit enter, there is no message because I have not set the verbose mode on, which is -b. But however, the file got copied. So now I'll try to see the new file.txt is really the same file content or not. How do I do that? I'll be writing folder 2 slash new file.txt. The moment I hit enter, and yes, bingo, that's the same file. So now also we understand that the cp command does not only copy the file, it also can be used to copy a file with a new location with a new name, right? So that's more or less about the cp command. Well, let us go forward and see what is the next command we have over here in the list. And the command says diff. Well, diff is a command which is used to find out the difference between two files, the source file and the destination file, or from the file to the file. Now, it has also come with much options over here, but which is not really recommended. You can try out those, you can pause this video and try out multiple differences, multiple option differences after the demo is over. But in short, diff is a command which will find out the differences between two files. So what are the differences is basically find out. It does not find out the differences in terms of the number of characters or the number of words or the number of lines. It basically print out both the options back to back next to you, right? So That's basically how does it actually works. We'll be trying out one specific option over here, which is -y, which is a very interesting option. We'll try to see how does it works. But for that, I'll be needing two files. So let us go forward inside our folder one, which is our test folder. And inside that, let us go forward and create two different files. So what I'll be doing is cat and a redirector operator, and then I'll be saying file one to say, let's call this file as file underscore from dot txt, and then inside that I'll be writing hello world testing file. And then the moment I hit enter, it will come down to the next line. To come out of this editing option, I have to press Control Z. The moment I press Control and Z together, the file got saved. Now let us go forward and try to create another file where I'll be calling that file as file underscore 2. So cat redirector file underscore 2 dot txt. Now the moment I hit enter, once again I'm in the writing prompt. So I'll be writing only hello world here, right? And then I'll go forward and hit enter. I'm not going to add the second line over here by pressing Control and Z. I'll just save the file. So now we do have two files with us, which is said file underscore from and file underscore 2. What we're gonna do is we're gonna find out the difference, and by that we'll try to learn how the command diff works. So I'll say file underscore from space file underscore 2 dot txt, and the moment I hit enter, I'll actually get the contents printed over here. So the first file says hello world and the second file says testing file, and the second file content is only hello world. Why don't you go forward and try another option over here where we'll go forward and write down diff and our option -y, where we'll go forward and say file underscore from dot txt and then file underscore 2 dot txt. Now watch out the difference. In the earlier option, without this option y, we actually have seen the files contents one after another. But now with the y option, which reports the file side by side, here I can actually go forward and compare the line. So this is my first line and this is my second line, right? So there are multiple options over here. As I said, you can go forward and try multiple options here, right? Let us go forward and see what next we have after the diff command. We have got one command called move. Move command is nothing but a command which stands for moving a file from one location to another location, which is not copy, or rather it's a move option from one location to another location. Now move command also can be used to rename a file during a copy. What we have to understand over here, the command move is very much different from the command cp, because cp will have a copy created of the file, whereas move will take the file from the source location and will put it in the destination location, right? So that's the basic difference between copy and move. Copy will create another copy of the file, but move will go forward and change the file location from one location to another, from source to destination to be specific. Now let us go forward and see how does that particular demo works. So what I'm gonna do is, like, again, I'll come down to my prompt and I'll come down to a source location where I can see all my files and folders. So now inside folder, I have a file called file1 or something that I'll try to get it copied into a new location, say for example. Okay. Now what I'm gonna do is basically, like, I have a file just now created which is called file underscore 2, and that I wanted to get it copied from rather moved from folder to folder 2. So let's see how does that mv command actually works. So I'll go forward and write down mv a space, and then I'm gonna write down folder file underscore 2 dot txt, and I'll get it copied to another location which is called folder 2. So folder 2 and slash. Now the moment I go forward and hit that enter, the file is actually been moved. How do I make sure about that? I can go inside folder 1. Sorry, I can go inside folder and I can have a ls. I can see that the from file is still existing over here, but the to file is missing. How do I find out where is the to file? I'll go forward and say cd space dot dot, and again I'll go forward into the folder called folder 2. Inside folder 2, if I go forward and once again list all my files, I'll be seeing that yes, the new file has been moved from folder to folder 2. So that's how this option works actually. Like, only one similarity with cp command. During cp command, during the copy option, you can as well change the name of the file. Using move also, you can do that. Now what I'm gonna do is basically this new file, file underscore 2, I'll again move it back to my folder, but with a different name. Let's see how do I do that. So I'll say mv folder 2 and file underscore 2, and now I wanted to get it copied inside folder, but with a new file. So I'll say file underscore 2 new dot txt. So now I'll hit the enter button and the file has been moved. How do I know that? I can go inside now under folder 2 and try figuring it out what is inside. I'll be seeing that as last time it was showing a file called file underscore 2, but this time this file is missing, right? Where the file go? The file actually been moved to folder. So how do I actually go forward and do that? I can go forward and see inside now my folder, and once again if I go forward for a listing, I'll see that yes, now the file is been relocated into folder but with a different name, right? So that's how this move command actually works, right? So that's all about the command move. And furthermore, what we do have is basically we have the next command, which is called ln. Be specific about the spelling. It's L and N, which stands for link or a shortcut. Now in Linux environment, we don't call anything called shortcut because there is no shortcut, and we call it a link, right? So all shortcuts, whatever you have to use to pronounce in case of your normal Windows environment, you have to change your habit and you have to start calling it a link. So link command is actually used to go forward and create a link of a file. Now there are two types of links possible. One is called a hard link and another is called a soft link. Now how does the difference actually work? We'll get to know that when we go forward and learn another command called inode. So for a time being, I'm not getting into what is a hard link and a soft link. So just for a time being, we understand that that's called a link, right? We have to create a link. So now let's see how do you go forward and create a link here. Well, now coming out into my root folder location, I have got a folder called folder, and inside that, all we remember, we have a file called file1. Now inside folder 2, I have to go forward and create a link of that file, file1. However, I can do it with the same name or with a different name. How does that command actually goes forward? So I'll write down ln, which stands for link, and then first I have to write down for which file I wanted to create the link. So I've written I wanted to create a link for a file 1, and inside which folder? Inside my folder 2. And then I say I'll be calling it just file.txt, right? And I'll go forward and hit enter now. The moment I hit enter, there is a link got created inside folder 2 called file.txt. What does that mean? That means now either from this location or from this location, from the file folder location or from folder 2 location, I will be able to use the same content of the file. Let's try out. So what I'll do now, I'll say cat folder slash file1.txt. So it's giving me the content of that particular file, which is the original location. And then now I try to access the file from the link location with the name file.txt from second folder, folder 2. and yes, it gives me a same content, right? So that's how it works. That's how you go forward and create a link of it. As mentioned, the difference between a hard link and soft link will be only able to identify after we learn the inode command. I'll come back at that particular point of time and I'll be revisiting this topic once again. Well, let's see what next we do have. Our next command is WC, which is actually stands for what count, but it actually do little more than just counting the words. So what it do? Whenever I'll pass on a file to this WC command or utility, it will actually go forward and list out the count of lines, words, and the characters inside a file. So let's see how does that actually works. So now I'll try to see. I'll go inside my folder, and inside that, as we remember, we have a file called file1. What is the content of the file? Let us see. I'll say cat file1.txt. So this is the content of the file. I have basically 3-4 lines printed over here. And then I do have few couple of words here and few couple of characters. Now, if it's a small file, it's very easy to go forward and count it up manually. But if the file is really very heavy or really very high, it's actually very difficult to go forward and find out how many number of lines you have, or how many number of characters, or how many number of words you have. To do that automatically, we go forward and use a command WC, stands for what count, and then I'll pass on the file1.txt to the command. The moment I hit enter, what does it say? The first number always will be printing the number of lines. So here, as we can understand, there are 4 lines, 2 with content, 2 without content. How many words are here? There are total 8 words, 6 in the second line, 2 in the first line. And how many total number of characters you have? That's called 44, right? So it actually works pretty well here, right? So that's a command what we have called WC word count. The first is the number of lines, then second is the number of words, and the third one, which will be giving you the number of characters in the file. Well, so that's all about WC. Let's go forward and see what else we do have in the command list. Well, now RM is a command which will be is not for rename, rather it's for remove. It's used to remove, or what we call delete, a file from a specific directory. How does that basically works? I can forcefully do that. I can recursively do that. What do you mean by doing it forcefully or recursively? If I don't have a file permission, and then without prompting me, if I do have a file permission, then without prompting me, the file will be deleted. Otherwise, if I go forward and only execute the rm command, it will actually go forward and ask me for each and every file that do I want it to delete it or not. If I do have a folder, and inside that some folder, and inside that some folder as well, then specifically it will be going forward and deleting everything recursively with an option called R. So now let us go forward and try seeing that how does that actually works. So I'll go forward and I'll come out of the folders, and I'll see that now I have got a folder called folder. Now I would like to delete the file inside my folder. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna write rm, and then I'll say folder, and inside that I'll say I would like to specifically delete file 1. The moment I hit enter, it's asking me that do you really wanted to remove this particular file? I have to go forward and say Y, stands for yes. The moment I hit enter, the file is actually deleted. Now there is one more file called file2, and I don't want the prompt coming to me and asking me or asking me to reconfirm my decision that do you really wanted to delete the file or not. In order to do that, what I'm gonna do is I'll be deleting the file with the option called -f. In that particular case, let us see what is the difference comes forward. So I'll say rm-f. Now I want to delete the file which is called file2 under the same folder called folder. And now the difference in the command is now it comes up with the -f. The moment I hit enter, nobody asks a question, the file is actually deleted over here, right? So that's the difference between -f and without -f. -f will be deleting the file without asking for a further confirmation, but just a rm command will be asking for a confirmation always, right? Now, actually, I can do much more things with this option. Say, I would like to delete all the files which actually starts up or ends up with the option .txt with the .txt extension. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go forward and say folder/start.txt, and then the moment I hit enter, it's actually picking up all the files which ends with a .txt. Right? So this star means anything it can be. The file name can be anything, but after the file name there will be a dot, and followed by a dot there will be 3 characters called txt, right? So with the help of a star I can go forward and actually delete everything. To do this option, there is another command available. What I can do is basically from my folder 1, now I can try to recursively delete all my files and folders. So I'll say rm space -r stands for recursive, and then I'll go forward and say folder 1. The moment I hit enter, it's saying that there are some files and folders available in folder 1. Do you actually wanted to go forward and delete that? So they are asking me now for my confirmation for each and every file what I have, and it's been cleared now. What is the difference between -r and deleting a folder without -r? Try seeing that. Now I'll see that I'll go forward and write folder 2, and this time I have not given any recursive option, and the moment I hit enter, it comes up with an error message saying that cannot remove directory folder 2. It's a directory and obviously it has got a content inside that. So that's the option here. Can I use multiple parameters at the same point of time? Say for example, I don't want any confirmation messages coming up like this last time, but I wanted to delete all the contents from my folder 2 recursively. So what I have to do now? I have to go forward and say -f-r, which will say do everything without asking a question and do it recursively. And then I'll say folder 2. The moment I hit enter, what happens? Everything is vanished, right? Now I'll go forward and say ls. I cannot see any of the folders called folder 2. But however, they had got a content inside that, but now everything has been deleted, right? So that's the basic option goes over here with rm, right? So let us go forward and see what else we do have here after rm. After rm, we have one more specific command which will not be deleting file, which will only be deleting its folders. So rmdir command is used to delete or remove a directory and its subdirectories. How do I do that? There is an option comes with it called -p. It allows user to remove the directory and its parent directory which became empty, right? So p is actually delete the specific folder and the parent folder of it at the same point of time, right? So let us try seeing that how does that actually works. So now as we remember that I have got a folder called folder, and inside that I also do have a folder called folder 4. Now if I go forward and say rmdir, and if I try to delete that particular folder with the parent folder as well, what I have to do? So I'll come out of that. So I'll say rmdir, and I would like to delete the folder called folder 4, obviously with the option called -p. The moment I hit enter, what happens? I'll go back and search once again saying ls to list it up, and I'll see that the folder 4 got deleted, and as well as the folder is also deleted. I would actually try deleting folder 4, but as we mentioned the option p, so it deleted the parent folder of folder 4, which is nothing but folder. So it's a very powerful command, right? So thank you for watching this video. You can try out these commands once again before the next video comes up. And in the next video, we're going to discuss about the security by file permissions. Like and subscribe to this channel so that you can get all the updates immediately as soon as the videos get launched. Thank you.